We're now going to go to Christopher Davidson in London with the University of Durham, arguably the Western expert on the United Arab Emirates. Christopher, wonderful to have you here. What will be the reaction of the Arab states? What will be the reaction in the coming hours, the coming days, across all of the Arab desert?
Thank you, Tom. Well, I think it's going to be quite a mixed reaction. I think there'll be some considerable fear in the poorer Arab states, which have large populations, much like Egypt. In particular, Yemen, which also has a very low GDP per capita, but a president who's been in power a long time and appears comparably rich to Mubarak. Also problems in Jordan as well, where we've been hearing about rifts between the military and the ruling family and protests on the street complaining about inflation and bread prices. Also perhaps problems in Syria and Algeria ahead too. Contrast that with the Gulf monarchies, where for the most part these seem to be sitting quite pretty. They still have oil exports, they're able to distribute wealth to their citizens. They're not in immediate fear of this kind of revolution.
Christopher, as you look at this, and this is, I think, the really critical question, is this a protest of the Egypt people, or is this a protest of the Arab people?
Well, I think Egypt can't be separated from the Arab people. Egypt, of course, historically has been the political and cultural hub of the Arab world, so many of the surviving regimes elsewhere in the Arab world are looking at this extremely worried. If anything happens in Egypt, they can only expect to have some kind of domino effect happening elsewhere. It's a bit like 1989, 1990 in Eastern Europe. Once the Soviet Union falls, the other regimes in Eastern Europe didn't last much longer either.
I mean, you look at this, Christopher Davidson, this history here, the transfer of power and the idea of the military. I see a single sentence, the military is in control. What does that signal to you? Just as one idea, folks, 60,000 people alone in the Egyptian Navy. 60,000 people in the Egyptian Navy. If I'm Egyptian, Christopher Davidson, what does it mean when I say the military's in charge?
Well, this can be a good thing or it can be a bad thing. We have some examples in Middle Eastern history where the military has played a very good, strong, neutral role. It's kept governments in check, and I'm thinking in particular of post-Ottoman Turkey. We could see the same kind of transition in Cairo today, where the military just occupy a sort of guardian role for the time being, a bit of gentle authoritarianism until the path to democracy can be established. The real danger, though, is that the regime hasn't actually been removed. This could all be part of some kind of ploy to put all the emphasis on Mubarak's removal in order for the protesters to clear Tahrir Square. Once they're gone, the pressure is gone and the regime remains in place. It's yet to be seen whether the people can actually get rid of the regime, even if they can get rid of one man.
Christopher, you wrote a book on Dubai that was banned in Dubai. We think of the concept of royalty in the Arab public. There's always been an original Egyptian politics, whether it's the nostalgia of Naguib Mahfouz, the Nobel laureate, back to the 50s and the 60s, call it post-Casablanca Egypt, and you go on to Nasser and Mubarak and on to where we are today. Forget about the nostalgia. What kind of government will fit for Egypt?
Well, I'm confident it will be a nascent democracy, probably modelled along international examples, probably with some kind of bicameral parliament where you have a sitting house of experts and some kind of elected body as well. Crucially, this time round, elections in Egypt should be free and fair because they will allow proper international inspections. Let's live in hope in that one. As for nostalgia for royalty, I can't see there being that much in Egypt for some kind of constitutional monarchy, getting back the old monarchy they had before, given that in many ways this monarchy Egypt had was very much a British creation.
Within Dubai and Abu Dhabi, just as two royalties, how would they view this? How do they perceive this tumult to their southwest?
Well, they've viewed it quite badly so far. A couple of days ago, we had a UAE national, an Emirati, that is, a citizen of Abu Dhabi, actually arrested. Amnesty International have already reported on it. Apparently, this gentleman was trying to give a speech in solidarity with the Egyptian people. So I think that's rather telling of what the reaction is. We also had the other day a consortium of Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates offering Mubarak a $5 billion annual payment should US aid of $1.5 billion to Egypt be cut in the event that Mubarak stays on. So I think Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates have made it quite clear which side of this struggle they're going to fall on. I can't help but think that they've decided they're on the wrong side of history now.
Well, you look at the wrong side of history here, there's got to be a reaction. If you and I were to sit in that fancy Western hotel in Dubai and read the National or the papers, what will be the follow-on of the next 2 or 3 days in these more conservative Arab states? How will they respond? Do they clamp down on the press? Do they deploy a plainclothes police force to increase their intelligence? What will be their response?
I actually think the Gulf states will all respond in a slightly different way. They all have different circumstances. I think certainly there'll be a clampdown. There'll be a lot more police work going on. The Gulf states always feel quite open and free compared to the rest of the Arab world, but we shouldn't forget they are police states too. It's just done a little bit more carefully with a lot more technology and resources behind them. I think they're all looking to Bahrain, which is the smallest of the Gulf monarchies and also the poorest. It's run out of oil and gas, and many of its citizens are planning a day of rage for February the 14th in just a few days' time. They're complaining about higher prices and increasing wealth gap, a lot of issues in similar with the Egyptian people. In contrast, United Arab Emirates probably feels a little bit more secure. It's a lot wealthier. It can keep throwing money at people. Same in Kuwait. Qatar is yet another different ball game, because Qatar's Al Jazeera has very much taken full credit for televising these revolutions in Egypt and Tunisia.
This is really important, Christopher. This is why we're thrilled to have you on. Bahrain, I've flown over it twice. That's all I know about Bahrain. Tell us about this island. I'm going to suggest to the northeast of Riyadh. How do we go from Algeria to Tunisia to Egypt and then now on to Bahrain, possibly?
Well, I think that the Qatar situation is crucial here. I think Qatar with Al Jazeera is trying to position itself as some kind of Switzerland in the Middle East. It's very small, it's very wealthy, it's very vulnerable, and it's also very close to Iran. It shares massive gas fields with Iran. So I think it's really trying to hedge its bets on all counts here and play piggy in the middle and hope it can stay aloof from regional politics. I think Iran is looking across to the situation in Egypt with a little bit of trepidation. I know that the revolutionaries in Iran who tried to mount these protests the other year after the disputed elections, they actually failed at the time. But now they feel there might be some momentum in the international media behind these kind of movements. So we may see some kind of uprising again there too.
Well, Christopher Davidson, we really thank you for your effort to get to our London News Bureau. University of Durham.